to RC Time. Got on quite well in the last day or two. Haven't been able to go to work, so been able to get on when I've sanded all the wings. The tanks are on, sanded, put the leading edges on and sanded down. So a lot of ours are sanding, but if you want a good model, you've got to do a lot of sanding. All I've got to do on the wing now is to join it, and then start just prepping it ready to glass cloth with easy coat pond sealer, as I said, rather than 2-pack resin. I could do either half separately and then join, but I'm going to join them, and then when I put the glass cloth on an easy coat, I'll be strengthening the joint with that as well. It won't make a lot of difference, but it'll make a little. And to be honest, that's not a big wing, so it's not going to be hard to glass, whether it's in 2 halves or just a one-piece wing. So I'm just going to join that now. I thought you might want to watch and see what you think. But that's a very easy wing to join. We've got 2 strips of spruce, probably 2mm by 8mm. And if you remember when we built the wing, the 2 main spars had a groove in, sort of like that, and these will fit in that groove there, and the same with the other wing. And that will set all the instruments of the wing, dihedral, so it will all be set by these little 2 pieces of spruce. So you can't go wrong, because they are pre-cut, so that angle that's put into the ribs gives these pieces of spruce the correct degree for the dihedral. So that's a lot easier than having to set the centre down in the centre and lift the tips up to a certain amount of inches off your bench to work out your dihedral. So I'm going to use white glue to glue these in. I'm going to put plenty of glue into the hole, a little bit on this, slide them in, let it ooze out. PVA wood glue, so that ain't coming out once that's in. If I get any type of gap here, I shall probably run some epoxy into that later on, once this has gone dry. Alright, and then as I said, when we fiberglass one sheet right across the centre. So, and sometimes I do put a small 4-inch strengthener if it's a joint wing as well while I'm fiberglassing, but we shall see about that when we start that process. So let's get some white glue on the run. Get in there. Nice and tight, there's no movement on them at all, so I can't change that now, that won't go up or down, so that's pretty good. Well designed, so quite easy to do. Go. Right, put this wing up, run some white glue on it, and we'll see what that join looks like once they're put together. I could dry test it, it's not a bad idea, but to be honest, it's got to go together whatever. So, you know, it doesn't even matter if I dry test it or not. There's not a lot you can do other than a little bit of sanding here and there. So I've just gone for it. Oh yes, yeah, that's gone together nicely. As you can see, the dihedral's in the wing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that apart and run a load of white glue in here and then push it together. I'm going to have a little bit of sand and then shape and hair. I shall do that as well. What we'll do is we shall put a piece of nice wood on here underneath and above and clamp them together while that dries overnight. There we go. Right. That's pretty good. So, find some scrap bits. There we go. A whole bit of paper under there. Basically, when the glue dries, I'd rather it stick to that bit of paper than the bench. The bit of paper will rip off and then sand and be gone. The bench, it's a pain in the backside if you stick it to the bench. So there you go. There you go. Like I say, we can't get the dihedral wrong. You can see the dihedral is in the wing. Join's gone together very nicely. Just wipe that excess off. Might have some drip out the bottom. At the moment it looks good. Doesn't matter if there's a little lump or two on the bottom, that'll sand off at a later date. And also we have a belly pan to make up for the bottom of this wing when it fits the fuselage anyway, so that will cover any discrepancies there. So other than that, it's all looking, yeah, that's looking pretty good. Nice and level. That's got to be trimmed to match that one, and then that's yeah, wings going together. I hope you enjoyed that. That's only a little video just to show you. I didn't think you'd want to sit there and watch me sand for hours and hours. Like I say, sanding is a big part of modelling. If you're not willing to put the hours in on sanding, you won't get the results. So, and to be honest, I find, I used to think, oh, shall I put the R's in at the end, the beginning? You got to put the R's in all the way through. The bare wood, the fiberglass, and the paint. There's just sanding and more sanding if you want the really good classy finishes. So we'll sand the wood and get that as good as possible before we fiberglass. We'll sand the fiberglass and get it as good as possible before we prime. We'll sand the primer, we'll wet and dry the primer and get that as good as possible before we paint. If we end up doing 2 or 3 coats of paint, we'll probably do more wet and drying between coats, and that's all to get the finish. So that's going to be a longish process in that aspect, but this will probably be the last video on the wing, and what I will do now is put the wing aside, and I think we'll have a look at the fuselage next week, get the plan out for that, get the bits cut out and let you see some of that going together. I'll show you the power unit I was going to put in it, and yep, and we'll go from there on that. Alright, thank you for watching. If you enjoy the videos, hit the subscribe, put a thumbs up. If you've got anything you want to comment on, always like the comments. I had a few nice comments so far, and that a couple of guys have said about some new types of glue that I haven't heard of, which is quite nice. One I'm going to have a look into. White glue's doing what I want now. PVA glue, I call it white. That's PVA glue, I know. But yeah, you got anything you want to mention, let us know. I'd like to hear it. Alright, okay, cheerio for now. Bye bye.